Has Stephanie Vicaire been screwed over by the current situation in the Raw Women's division? And for this weekend, are the matches announced for Raw and SmackDown actually better and more intriguing than the Clash in Paris card? All this and more in the Golden Shovel Wrestling Podcast, your weekly roundup of all things WWE storytelling. Oh, let's get in there. We are once again back with a three-man booth as Ross has officially ran out of Tuesday nights off.
So far.
Ross, how are you doing?
Good, so man. Far. I'm good. I'm looking forward to predicting Clash in Paris. This will be an intriguing one. We always quite like a PLE that's on at a nice and respectable time for us here in the UK. So, pleasure as always.
Just a shame it doesn't have a nice and respectable card, doesn't it? I was looking forward to booking this as of last week when we recorded. Now that I've seen the full card, honestly, can we book something else?
Aye, this feels like the Saturday night main event with Goldberg and Gunther and the Evolution where we just fantasy book John Cena run instead. Daz, first up, how are you? Second of all, we're coming straight to SmackDown. Solo versus Sammy, US title. Talk us through it.
I am glorious, and unfortunately, my favourite superstar on SmackDown right now is up against what feels like a bit of a nemesis on this podcast, if I'm honest. Adam and I actually had a fairly heated debate about this on WhatsApp during the week about how this plays out. Solo Sammy it's definitely a strange one. I feel like it's too soon in this feud for Sammy to pick up a title. It just seems like almost all here. I've been here 2 weeks and I'm actually going to take your title off you. It seems a bit odd. I think Solo needs it. I think this is the type of feud Solo needs. We need somebody that he can... It's probably the top end of the mid-card that he's going to be wrestling against. So if he can go and put on a good programme with Sammy, that's the thing we criticised Sammy and Cross for, was that it looked okay outside of the ring, but in the ring it did not sell. I'm convinced that this will. These two have got history and the bloodline, etc. So it should make for good viewing, which boggles the mind as to why this is on the Friday night. And you've got Sheamus versus Rusev in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match on the Clash in Paris card. I'm looking forward to this one on Friday night. It's probably the reason I'm going to watch it, if I'm honest.
Obviously for us, it's definitely... For us, it's not a bad situation. It's more than likely going to main event Friday night at 9:30 for us. But I think it's even earlier because it's French time, we're an hour ahead. So for us, it's an easy watch. And I was saying to Ross before we came on there that it was nice waking up this morning, going to work, and not having to find 3 hours to watch Raw. I think this should be on the card, and I'd have it on the card over at least 3 of the matches that are on the Clash in Paris card. Ross, just touching on what Dad said and what was in my mind when I asked him to give us a rundown on the match. This feels like there's no winners out of this match, and what I'm really calling for is that Solo needs to win, doesn't need to win, but he needs to try and do this without interference.
Yeah, I would think so, because there's only so many times you can have an interference win before you don't get the reaction at all. So no, I agree. I think that this is going to be a really, really interesting one to keep an eye on. I am in agreement with the pair of you that this should be on the card, and it's very surprising that it's not. Especially a 5-match card's not that much in 2025. It makes me think that this show is going to be incredibly short, which is also a shame. Obviously, at the time we're recording, SmackDown still to come. Something could change, but surely they're not going to add another match on Friday.
It's interesting
that isn't this match.
The way it looks, it was originally slated to be a 6-match card anyway, because of the Women's World title picture on Raw. So
yeah,
because it doesn't look like any of them's been thrown in at like majorly short notice.
I think Becky and Nikki's been teased for
a long time,
a couple of months now. Aye.
Sheamus and Rusev have been wrestling for what feels like 6 years. So it's interesting that obviously they've got another match on Raw last night, which we'll get to eventually on the pod, but it just seems odd that neither of the two of them get put in to the card. But they've probably worked their timings and stuff out now for the revised card, and there's no point in messing about with that.
I mean, we've said this, but all the smaller PLEs have been 5 matches this year, so I really don't see a 6 match being added, especially because they have announced so many world title matches around it. And it does. I mean, we must only be 2-3 years away from 7 or 8 PLEs that are 2-nighters, if not more, because between the matches that aren't happening at all this weekend and the matches that are happening off the main card, there is enough for 2 nights.
Yeah.
I think this is what they want, though. I think they're building a clear structure for before and after PLEs, where,
Why?
especially on the Friday night, it looks like we're going to have a title match every Friday night before a PLE. I think that's the last 3 where a title's been defended on the Friday night. You had the women's title, the women's US title, and the US title?
Aye, certainly the ones outside the US anyway. They make it's like a weekend event, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
I think the criticism I'd have of the setup is, as we discussed last week at length, as I think we mentioned every week, is just SmackDown just isn't long enough right now for the amount of superstars they have, and in fact it feels like the show is now so weak for it. We still haven't seen Julia at all. She's held the title, I think her and Becky both won the titles in the same month, obviously a few weeks apart, and I think Julia's had 1 defence and Becky's had 5 or 6 and a ridiculously good feud. That's no good enough for somebody like Julia, who, if the crowd just don't get behind her and on the Inter, it's just never going to work. Especially for somebody who doesn't have English as a first language, she connects with the crowd by being a good wrestler, which is really difficult to do if you're not actually wrestling matches on a weekly basis.
It's really weird. It seems a bit like Io Sky's world title reign. It's really odd because the fans are still behind her every time she's on screen backstage. They still pop. They still want her to be that mid-card champion. I'm not really clear on the path that's going to take, because you've got Michin, who has been front and centre in those backstage segments, but you've seen the tease on Friday night in the background going down the stairs was Nikki Cross. So I'm really intrigued to see how that plays out.
That's a good spot, actually. That's a very good spot.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
always looking for the storytelling. I'm always looking for it.
Let's park the SmackDown as struggling because they just can't get everything in the card.
We'll pick it up when they stop struggling.
Aye. And let's dive straight into the prediction. Ross, you want to kick us off first? Solo versus Sammy.
Yeah. This will be interesting. I like the match. I think it could work. I think it could be quite interesting. I think I'm in agreement with you two guys that we need to see something from Solo, because as much as it's been very, very, very entertaining on mic and ring, he needs some results to back it up. However, they love a screwy finish, and I don't know what it is. I just can't see it coming. I think Solo will win. I'm going to give him a prediction. I'll give it out there now, but I would like it to be clean. I still don't think it's going to be, and I think that could be a shame.
We'll come to you at the end, as I'm going to just very, very quickly say Solo's walking out with the title on Friday night, but I'm not picking him to win the match. I think we're getting a no contest or a DQ or something. Totally agree with what Daz said. It's too early in the feud for this match. I think if Sammy's on a path towards the world title picture next year, having him win this just now doesn't help him and doesn't help Solo. He's popular enough without it. And I think most importantly, we do need to start seeing Solo win without that help. But I don't think it's just going to happen in a one-off. So Solo's walking out with the title, but I am predicting not by victory. Daz?
Fair enough. I mean, I said that at the beginning when I started this segment, is that it's too early for Solo's US title run to end, in my opinion. However, this might be the shock of the pod. I think Sami Zayn's going to win the US title.
Adam's going to love
Friday night. I'm not happy about it, but I think Sami will win the title. I think that for two reasons. One, most of the people in attendance on Friday night will be in attendance at Sunday, funnily enough, as you pointed out in the Discord, and not Saturday, strangely.
Planned my whole weekend with
Yeah,
Saturday.
I know.
I've cut Nicole's in it for lunch for pals, and I've cut it short to watch the wrestling. And I was like, right.
It's the wrong day. So, yeah, I think Sammy winning the title keeps the crowd hot for the Sunday. And I'm probably leaning in a little bit to my other prediction. I think they might change both titles on both brands. Because I don't see what Sammy works in the build up to Royal Rumble, if that's the trajectory they're going to put him on, is to go and win the Rumble. I don't see where he fits in, because if he's not in the world title picture on Raw, you move him to SmackDown. If he loses in his first meaningful match on SmackDown for a title, it's really hard to build, because he's said it's not the underdog story anymore. They're almost addressing it in your face that they're aware this guy's been the underdog for like the last 10 years. I think they're going to put him over, give him the US title, and I think we're going to see, I don't know where Solo and the MFT go for there though, but yeah, unfortunately I think Sammy will win the title.
I think if your prediction holds true, which I'm not opposed to, because like
I don't think it's a bad, like I've always said
there's a lot of heel champions right now. That's the thing.
I don't really like Sammy, but there's no disputing that he is a talented wrestler, and I've said it even that when I'm saying he's no world champion material, he is a top mid carder. That's what he is in my opinion.
Aye.
So he probably is the safest pair of hands on SmackDown if you're going to put the title on somebody else. So I don't hate it for that aspect, but I don't like the idea of taking the belt off Solo, because he's come out strong in the feud against Fatu and feels a wee bit like burying his run.
The only thing that it might set up is a better build up to War Games, having Solo.
Yes, and that's where I think
as a leader chasing Sammy, and ultimately he goes back over end of the year, early January, prior to,
which allows Sammy to go and win the Royal Rumble. And
aye.
I hope that is the long term booking for it, because I feel like Solo has been done dirty over the last kind of 18 months with the Bloodline stuff.
Aye.
So I think he's earned the right to be a champion, but I think maybe taking it off Sammy later in the year is better booking for him.
I hope so as well, because I've got a shit ton of Solo Sikoa auto cards that I've picked up in the last few weeks that really need to get in value at some point. That's an interesting one. So we're 2-1 in favour of Solo, but probably flipped, I think, from what the expectation would be.
Yeah.
And I think as we run through this card, we'll hark back to it. Triple H said prior to SummerSlam, if things start getting predictable, then we need to change shit up. And
yeah, definitely.
Maybe there is something there. You've read all the match to, I know it's SmackDown, but we'll come to Ross first, because we'd actually discussed this when we were watching it on Friday night. But I'm sure I said last week that building the Secret Service as challengers can't work if they keep losing. Then suddenly Piper gets a win over Charlotte. Obviously not clean, but a big win. I kind of feel like Ross, I kind of feel like if this was 1 week later, I'd be going all in and saying this is a time for a title change.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like letting them win one match isn't enough.
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping for is, if that's the way they go, it's not an immediate Charlotte and Alexa breakup. There is still a feud to be had there. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm in full agreement there. It's too early. Like, don't ruin a good thing, because that is the concern I have, is that they're about to go ruin a good thing when this could run for a heck of a long time. I genuinely cannot make up my mind up on this. I've thought about it. I've been in this room now for about 2 hours before the pod, preparing for it, and I've stared at this one a few times, and I just can't work out where on earth it lands. So, yeah, do you know what? They do some strange stuff. Secret Service may actually walk out with something. I would be very perplexed if they do, but I think I want to go a bit rogue, and I'll go for them, just because I might be right, and I think that would be quite funny if I was right. So,
Daz, you already alluded to it. Are you also pledging allegiance?
No. And it was nice to see Piper actually pick up the win. And I know it wasn't clean, but it was relatively clean. It wasn't, because I mean, it is Charlotte Flair. Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't think
It
that
wasn't MFT level,
one
was it?
high heel's enough.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, Secret Service, are they believable as champions? I don't know. Are they believable? Like, even though Piper picked up the win over Charlotte, is it believable that these two go and win? Now, the only way I can see them winning is if Chelsea Green wins them the titles. It's the only way, in my opinion, it can feasibly happen. But I do think we need to break this trio up, because it is of no surprise to anybody that I want Chelsea Green to win the Women's Royal Rumble. And it cannot happen when she's part of the Secret Service, in my opinion, because as much as she's still great value as part of that group, it's not convincing that she's going to go and win the world title. And that's where she belongs. She belongs in that picture. She's put her time in. So I'd back onto Secret Service and Charlotte and Alexa. Charlotte and Alexa are too big. They are too good right now. And I also don't think they need the titles, but I think the brand needs them to have the titles, is probably more fitting rather than they two needing the belts. So I'm going to go with Charlotte and Alexa retain.
I'm the same as Ross. I'm right in the middle on this. No matter what happens, I don't want Friday to be the start of the end of Charlotte and Alexa. I think if I was booking it my way, I'd have them drop the titles to Secret Service, and then perhaps Chelsea Green going a little bit Chelsea Green over the next few weeks and starting to descend into a bit of chaos and mentalness of not having a title, but her lackeys have titles and whatever story she tells, because we said this last week, she's a phenomenal storyteller. And then eventually that leads to Charlotte and Alexa regain the titles, and then eventually they drop it to somebody else, probably after I move to Raw or to a Raw team that it puts somebody else over, whether that's a call-up for NXT or whether that's a different tag team, a Julia plus somebody or a Jordan Grace that, puts the eyes on somebody else. That's what I would want to happen, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And I'm going to stick with Charlotte and Alexa because I can't get by my head that one Piper Niven winning one match isn't enough to make you credible challengers to two of the five best in the business. So I'm way you on that one. I'm 100% thinking that a title change would be great, but it's at least a week too early.
It does certainly give us enough of doubt, though, that you can plant in our heads.
Oh, aye.
Which is interesting in itself, right?
That's the point.
It was just, as soon as that pin happened on Friday night, I went, "Oh, all right, okay, that's interesting."
I think that is the point. I think they're trying to throw you off the scent that it's not just going to be a walkover for Charlotte and Alexa, but in reality, I think it will be.
I think the worst thing is that both Piper Niven and Kaylee Ray, or whatever she's still wrestling Alba Fire, are both phenomenal wrestlers who aren't really allowed to showcase what they can do. And Chelsea Green's the same, to be honest. Give them an actual opportunity to show what they can do. I think I don't even know if
they are actually are they actually a good tag team? They are good wrestlers individually. There is no disputing that. But are they actually? Because see, when they first put Charlotte and Alexa together, I thought these two are brilliant in the ring. Are they actually going to gel as a team? And they've got incredible chemistry together. I'm not sure the Secret Service have it. In my opinion, I think the titles, the tag titles, should be being challenged by Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. In my opinion,
I don't. Is it the gimmick or is it the chemistry? You know what I mean? Like, is it the gimmick?
That's what I mean. We've not really had a chance to see whether or not they can actually hang as a tag team. Because if you're going to put the belts on them, they need to be able to work as a tag team. Because you can't gimmick your way through title defences as well.
No, and you can't have Chelsea doing all the talking for them either. They have to be the champions. It's no like a Freebirds rule. So that's another interesting one there. We're 2-1 for the SmackDown title matches, but arguably where most of the intrigue is. The the Charlotte and Alexa Secret Service match, I think, is so important because we have predicted for a long time these titles have to move to Raw at some point because that's where the time is and they take up too much time on SmackDown. So whatever happens out of that's going to be worth watching in the next few weeks. Although I do fear we're running out of time this year for a draft or a shake-up. Speaking of draft and shake-up, conversation with Daz last week, we talked a wee bit about the WWE draft, and this week's Saturday Squash, which will drop at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, will be things we'd like to see return to WWE. And this week, Ross and Daz go head-to-head. They pick 3 things each. I sit in the middle and pick a winner of each. We see how it goes. So join us for that, 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
That was totally unplanned as well.
I know, for those on video, you would have very much enjoyed that.
Do you know what? Do you know what I think? The thumbnail. Sorry for digressing, but the thumbnail should be like a SmackDown versus Raw.
Aye.
Like, like one of the ones, or Randy Orton. Do you know what I mean? Aye.
Aye, that was the fact that even me plugging it was a total random one because it just the segue was there, and then you two use just gloves off at the same time.
All the same
bad
person.
For audio. I have no idea what was going on.
I have no idea what's happening. Yeah.
So
for those on audio, I'm built like Randy Orton, so just think about that.
And Ross is built like Sheamus after the injury.
Oh. Somebody check for the offside flag on that one. That was harsh. Anyway, back to regularly scheduled programming.
Back to regular scheduled programme. We're on to Monday Night Raw before we hit the Clash in Paris. Carl, do we have to just talk about the match that has since been omitted? Now, obviously, we talked at length about Naomi's situation. It's brilliant, and she's going to come back and immediately be an absolute top superstar when she eventually turns to the ring. However, is Stephanie Vicaire being screwed? Literally the question I asked right at the start of the show. It's going to be on the thumbnail probably somewhere as well for this video, and it'll be in the notes for the audio, but I feel like she won the Battle Royal. Daz, will come to you first because I know you love her.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she won the Battle Royal. They had to park her to the side because there was other announced matches.
Mm-hmm.
Right when you're expecting the feud with Naomi to heat up, which would have been interesting because, again, not English first language. Naomi's running a heater this year on the mic. Naomi announces that she's not medically cleared. Immediately everybody figures out that she's pregnant, therefore. Nothing happens. 2 weeks have passed. No match has been booked. There'll be a match announced next week. We're not totally sure when that's going to happen. My assumption will be it's going to be held off for WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, I would think so.
But I don't remember the last time I actually watched a Stephanie Vicaire match in the ring. Whereas 3 months ago we were like, this woman needs pushed to the moon. So if they dug a hole, then they now need to try and rocket their way back out just by having her parked since that Battle Royal.
I mentioned it last week. This is the best thing that could have happened to Stephanie Vicaire. This gives them a total chance to reset and actually build towards a world title match and bring her back into the forefront. Because you're absolutely right. Prior to Naomi saying she's not medically cleared to compete, there was absolutely no build for this title match. I don't even think they'd cut proper promo against each other or even together as a proper promo. They did a backstage segment, and I think there was 2 or 3 other people there. But there was absolutely no build to it, and it's kind of like we're talking about with the Secret Service, is how can you put her over as a credible world champion with no build? And it's exactly the same prospect. I'm really intrigued because I think this is the best thing that could happen to Stephanie in the long run, and I say that because I don't think she'll win the world title, and that's why I say in the long run, because it gives them a chance to make her into a star again, because it's going to be really easy. Put her on TV repeatedly and
have her have good matches.
And she will become a star again. Like there's no getting away from it. She's just been out of the light for a little bit, just with all the moving parts of other stories. So I think in the long run it'll be better for her, because I would really have the fear that they were going to put the title on her, just because Naomi can't wrestle right now, and they've got no way to go with her, and that's a really big risk. Because if your first world title run is disappointing, then it's really difficult to make you a world
100%.
champion again. So I think it'll be the best thing for her in the long run, because I also feel like the person who's going to become world champion will also be a first time world champion, and it'll be great for them to have a transitional run as world champion to cement them, because they will be good in the 2 or whatever months they hold it.
there's one thing that we all like. We've got a few things we all agree on. One thing we always agreed on is when you're holding your first world championship, it doesn't need to be long.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be good. It has to be memorable. And I always bring up, and I brought it up when we did the first episode of the squash, Edge's first cash in. They gave him 3 weeks, and within 2 years, he was like a 5-time world champion because he became so dependable, and he created moments and he created viral events, and he was a watchable superstar, but they loved watching him. So I'm a fan of getting hot, staying hot. I think that's the issue. They've lost that heat that Stephanie McCare had built up over the course of certainly up to Money in the Bank. Mm-hmm. After that, I think it's a bit shaky. I also, you've mentioned there, you think it'll be another first-time champion, which we can discuss. I personally, and I've said this for start, I think if you're winning your first world title, it's always good to beat somebody established. It's why I'm surprised they haven't went the route of a tournament to face Stephanie McCare. I know we slagged off qualifiers all summer, but at least if it's a first time versus first time, that person could have went over someone who is established.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just for your thoughts. Do you have a name in mind as to who you would either have faced Stephanie McCare or potentially take the title?
Oh, good question. I think I wouldn't mind. I mean, again, I'm a bit of an NXT homer, right? But I wouldn't mind if you had someone come up from NXT for something like that. Even if it is, again, to put them in the spotlight for a little bit, but then they ultimately don't win. We've had a few that have obviously been floating around there. Like, obviously, Jordan Grace is supposed to be a SmackDown star, and then she just hasn't been at any point since it's mentioned. Last Legend has flirted with coming up, has had some moments. Obviously, she has her feud with Nia Jax being a thing. Probably as was a test run to see how they'll hang. I wouldn't mind someone like Last Legend being something like that. If they're really trying this now, where they know that Becky's probably not going to be in there for much longer. You've got Stephanie McCare coming in, is going to be another one of those ones stepping up. They are at this point where there's not like a changing of the guard in the truest sense, but there is a slight bit of turnover just with age and what have you. Naomi's going to be out for a year. There's a little bit of room that you can have these people come up and down a little bit more. So why not have it be something like that? Because that'd be a banger of a match, and then McCare can still go over and still win. And I think
I don't hate it. I think it's just predictable. Maybe. In terms of outcome. Because don't get me wrong, I would love to watch any of the women's roster on NXT come up and wrestle Stephanie McCare. Because you're guaranteed a good wrestling match. You are guaranteed a good wrestling match. I have 3 names in my head.
I've got 2.
One will be a multiple-time world champion if it's her. One will be a first-time world champion. And the other one will be a multiple-time world champion. But I don't think she is fit to wrestle. I don't know if Liv Morgan will be available. Because he teased he's got a name.
3 then.
He's got a name in mind, and I don't know. Well, because they've name dropped her. They name dropped her about 4 times on Monday night, and
they did actually.
I don't know. They're playing fast and loose with her recovery as well. I don't know too much about it. The other two we spoke about last week, Saunders, is that there's a really safe pair of hands to put it on, and that's Bayley. That's an established person. She has a crazy heel in the making right now with these voices in her head.
Like that.
If she snaps, wins the world title, she's a perfect person for somebody to chase for a couple of months and go over an established name. However, my pick would be, and I'll give you the reason and why. There needs to be someone believable that can consistently fend off Rhea Ripley, right? And what the Raw division in particular lacks is, and I don't want to use the phrase because it doesn't sound right, but as a big woman, right? As like a power lift.
Powerhouse.
A powerhouse. That's exactly what it needs.
Proper powerhouse.
And Raquel Rodriguez is perfect in that mould. And it allows you to see a couple of different things, because we all know that Liv will be fine if the Judgment Day breaks up. We know that Roxy will be fine if it breaks up. The question mark is, will Raquel still be over if she doesn't have that stable round about her? I think the perfect way to tell is how she carries the world title. Give her a 6-week, 8-week transitional run as that champion. Let somebody up and come and go over, or even Liv Morgan when she's fit again and break the Judgment Day up. I just think that I agree with us. I think they're at a bit of a crossroads. They can either put it on a first-time champion, but also somebody that is believable that Vicaire shouldn't go over, or put it in a safe pair of hands like Bailey and allow you to reset the clock. And because if you're Vicaire and English isn't your first language, a great mic worker like Bailey is probably the best type of person to feud with.
I think it's a good
and lead up to your first world title run. Because I don't really know what we're doing with Bailey, but Lyra, I think, is going to be the programme for Bailey.
Potentially,
she was asking about her to check up on him backstage and stuff like that. So, I mean, Lyra's another one. You can book Lyra Valkyria in that match way. And then it is 50-50 because I really don't know who you would book to win that.
I think it's they could get this so right or get it so wrong, and I don't disagree with any names that have been mentioned. I think I'm with you, Daz, in the same three. I think if Liv, there was any chance of Liv being fit, I think she's probably in there. I think if you're ever going to, we've said we're actually fans of testing short-term title runs on certain people at the right time. Like Jey Uso had a relatively short run, but it was a good test. Like, he's a safe pair of hands in the future. You've got so many options with Raquel. You put the title on her. If you're no sure it's working, or even if it is working, but you don't want to take it too far and run the risk of going stale, a la SmackDown, you have the show in Perth where you could have Rhea take it from her, and it's relatively
crowd, and it's fine,
and it's safe. If you think it's going so well that she can come out of that show with the title, you can wait for Liv to return.
You've got a bona fide world champion if you can go over Rhea Ripley and
that's what I'm saying. So the Liv feud is there when Liv returns, and then after that you can do whatever you need to do come January to set up Mania if you don't want Raquel Holt. So it's a really safe time. The same goes for Stephanie Vicaire, but
it's the right time in the year for this to happen.
Yes,
you've got the right shows lined up in front of you that
you get enough shows to take up. You can take it off.
That you can make a decision as you go through the run about how long it actually lasts.
I think that's the thing. That's why I was saying she'd been screwed over, Stephanie. She was hot a couple months ago. They had to hold her back because she won the Battle Royal. Now, rightly or wrongly, it's Raquel that's hot, and it's changed a little bit. And I think you know what you have with Stephanie Vicaire. She will be a world champ. She'll be a multi-time. Raquel can either be a multi-time world champion or Tamina if they get it horribly wrong.
That's a strong brutal comparison. That is brutal. Nobody grows up wants to be Tamina.
I mean, I don't know what you're up until 2 months ago. None of us would have called for Raquel Rodriguez to win a world title.
No, I don't disagree with you. I genuinely don't, but I do think we're getting to a point where Raquel's really got to show that she can hold the world title. She's never going to hold it. Probably where LA Knight is in his career. That if he doesn't get his world title in the next 12 months, he's never getting it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we've
spent 12 months ago.
I know we've spent half an hour and we've not even got to Clash yet. But the last thing I've got to say on this is, however they book it, we know that Liv Morgan's probably going to take the title back when she's fit, and whether that's Bailey, Raquel, take your pick, Roxanne Perez, whoever it is that takes the title, you're guaranteed a feud that will sell with Liv Morgan. So I'm actually looking forward to it.
I would say, regardless of when Liv Morgan's fit, she should enter the Rumble and win it. I should have returned because she's been second a couple of times and she's been an Iron Woman, and I think it's her time to do it do it at that level.
I don't know if Saudi's the right place for her to go over. I don't know if that's the right.
Completely forgot it was in Saudi.
I don't know if that's the right place. I've seen an American crowd loves the right choice 1,000,000%. I just don't know if it will be like a spicier variety of Stephanie Vicaire or some such.
The last thing I'll say is about Bailey. If she does go down this route, is I'd love to see an almost character like the Fiend, where 1 minute she's this heel with the voices, and the next minute she's Hugger Bailey and jump. I am
glad you said it. That I want her to be. I want her to have like her own funhouse where Hugger Bailey is. I need it. I need it.
100%.
1,000,000%.
I think that'd be great, and it would just. And
that
again,
girl, what's that lassie's name? Remember the fan?
Is it Moreno?
Remember the fan?
She made her debut last year before.
Oh man,
one of the voices.
Hunter, but hire me right now.
I mean, as we've all discussed, Hunter must listen to us, so keep an eye out, guys. That will happen.
But again, it could buy you 6 or 8 weeks, and then you can decide whether Bailey's going full heel or full face. But I think it would be really interesting. Right, we do need to go to Clash in Paris, despite if I don't want to. Now, what I'll say is, I think the first. Honestly, I don't think we could do this really, really quickly. I'm going to go straight away. Sheamus versus Rusev. This will be a good, solid match. But I have no interest in it being on a PLE when there's title matches hanging around about it. It's also a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, and Donnybrook, the last time I checked, was not in Paris. It's completely somewhere else. Like, you could have just called it done something else. I want Sheamus to win it. Rusev seemed to get the upper hand so far in the feud. Obviously, he's a big return, but I still hold. I'm just going to pick Sheamus.
I don't see them booking against Sheamus in Europe either. I really don't.
I'm picking Sheamus because I think there's enough heels going to win on Sunday night. So
100%.
Keep it short. Sheamus goes over Rusev. Daz?
See, to be honest, the longest thing I've got to say about this is that they sat down around the table and went, right, this is going to be a street fight, but we've had about 9 street fights in the last 3 PLEs. What can we call this? And they've decided that fellas will know it as a Donnybrook match, good old-fashioned one. So, Sheamus for me.
So, a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match is a no disqualification hardcore match where large wood barrels of Irish brandy and shillelaghs are made available at ringside. So it's just a slightly stereotypical racist hardcore match.
In the wrong country.
In the wrong country.
In the wrong country, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, good luck with that.
Roscoe?
My concern for this is, right, I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to give you the reasons why, but I don't like the reasons. So just prefacing this, I don't actually like this route. I understand that by quick Googling there as you were chatting, that Sheamus signed like a 5-year deal, so he's there till 2029. He's 47 at this point in time and has had, I think, multiple neck spine fusions. I would have thought it made perfect sense in this kind of situation that crowd's a bit iffy on Rusev. You would make sense, older guy puts over younger guy in this kind of situation. However, I just don't understand any of this. Like, I don't get it. I'm going to say Rusev's going to win, but you know that way where, like, even if I'm right, I'm going to be furious at myself because it's like, I don't understand. I don't understand any of this. Yes, they actually have put on decent matches, and I think you're spot on that put this on a Friday night or a Monday night and we won't give a shit. We'll just go, cool, that was fun. But this is taking a spot from someone, and it's a damn shame. So yeah, I'll go Rusev, but I hate it. So we'll move on.
I hate this. I actually hate this narrative of, because this has happened a few times. I don't mean on this podcast. I just mean in the IWC in general. Can we stop calling 40-year-olds the younger guy? It's really stressing me. It's the state of the business right now that these guys are the younger guys. It really is fucking infuriating. That
it's mad.
Because see if I born on Christmas Day, I believe as well. But honestly, who cares? But see if this opens the show, Sheamus has to win, because if Rusev wins, the crowd will die on its arse.
I think so.
I think that's
no
a
one
very
wants
good
Rusev
point.
to win.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out the right order to go through these matches, but I've got down here match 2, Roman versus Bronson. Now, I'm going to criticise the booking here massively. At least we've got somewhat full-time Roman and part-time Cody, which is interesting. But as much as we criticise and slag the first 20 minutes of Raw every week, Bronson Reed started saying, I am Samoan and your people took lands from my people. And I'm like, whoa, more storytelling in that 3 minutes than we've had in this whole fucking feud. Instead, we're arguing over fucking shoes, right? There's actual, like, you talk about the tribal combat and everything that's came before the bloodline, and there was an actual story there that we could have been told. And I did set a pair of trainers over there and forgot to bring them over so I could put the show off Alan for this segment, right? But this is just shit. I'm sorry. I just do not care. I care less about this than Sheamus Rusev. And the reason why I don't care is that I genuinely think Roman should win this match and has to win it. However, I also think that Bronson's fucked if Roman wins it. I just don't know. I like Bronson Reed, but they've started to just break Braun Breaker off into a couple of singles matches, and they're showing him again, blah blah, whatever else, and planning for WrestleMania, and it might be Roman then, but Bronson feels a little lost.
I think Roman has to win because it's these two are the logical stepping stones to Rollins. To get to Rollins, you need to go through fucking B&B security or whatever we're calling him. Bronson, unfortunately, is not Braun Breaker, so therefore he must be first. Where you get Breaker, I don't know. I think WrestlePalooza's too soon. So it'll
It maybe
probably
makes
be
sense if they
Perth,
kind of
but I don't
built
know if he'll...
Braun up a bit
Rumble,
more,
maybe?
Braun Breaker up a bit, and then when you beat him, it's maybe more of a big deal. Maybe is
Well,
that the way they're saying
I
it?
think they are trying to build Braun Breaker. I think we've seen the because Braun wrestled LA Knight, that correct, on Monday night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the main event. So they are building him slowly, but I just think I agree with you, Saunders. To be honest, you're looking at this card right now. There's only one match I want to watch, and I'm not really asked about the rest. Roman. I'm picking Roman.
Aye, I'm going Roman because it has to lead to Seth. And the only way it's not Roman is as interference, but I'm not going to call for that because I think we'll get it in the fatal four-way.
Yeah, the only I have thoughts about that. We'll get to that. We will all get to that. The only thing I really need to say about this, right, is the most interesting part of this entire feud was Roman's reaction to the boos of Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
See, when he mentioned Cody on Monday night, and the crowd booed, and he went, interesting, because we know that they're going to run it back eventually. They two are going to feud again in the future. I'm really intrigued by how that looks. Yeah.
You mentioned that. I do want to mention I'm a huge fan of that because I distinctly remember Ross, you, Adam, and I got us about 9-10 years ago at Raw in Glasgow booing the shit out of every graphic they showed Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg for Survivor Series. It was a build-up to Survivor Series. None of them travelled. And I think we get 30 minutes of wrestling in a 3-hour Raw.
Yeah,
something
and
like that.
With the two 5-man teams facing off for like half an hour, just having a conversation. The highlight
sounds
being,
like the 2010s. That definitely sounds like
highlight of the night being that Braun Strowman went on the list of Jericho. That was it. That's all that happened. That's all I remember about that whole show. Anyway, your prediction, Ross. Are you going 3-0 here? Are you going to just go against the green as well?
My first 3-0. I think this is 3-0. I think you're right, spot on. This is, as much as the match maybe isn't that exciting, this is logical storytelling. Yous are both spot on. Got to get to the main guy.
This should open the show.
I think opening the show is also a good shout because you're going to immediately get fans on side and people will laugh at the shoes. So, yeah, 3-0. 100%.
The Tribal Thief.
I have actually just noticed this, that it is a very Raw dominant show, and the next match I've got on the list is another Raw match. It's Becky versus Nikki. There was bits of the promo last night. Spoiler, we recorded this on Tuesday night ahead of Wednesday release, but there was bits of the promo last night that were okay. Couple of nice lines. I thought the line about Ozzy was.
I liked it.
I like it.
Good
I like it, but it is a wee bit. I liked it right up until the final line. Whereas if I lived in Birmingham, I'd die too. And I was a wee bit like,
it's a bit like if you have to explain the joke, it's no funny anymore.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong though. Nikki's first line. I mean, set the rest of the promo up to fail because it was good. Becky did a wee bit of good retaliation, but I tweeted it out on her Twitter. Oh my God, I hate Becky Lynch's in-ring promo work. This isn't a new thing. I've said this through all of our feuds. She's just, and don't get me wrong, it might just be the heel work, but she's so whiny and see her facial expressions. It's like, see when Dean Ambrose used to chew the chewing gum, he used to fucking fry my brain because it was so aggressively.
Aye.
Right, and it's all I could focus on. Becky's like scrunched up face is all I can see every time she talks, and I hate it. I hate it. This match can end in a double count out inside 10 seconds for me. I really don't care.
See, for me, that's why I like her heel work, because absolutely everything she does is really annoying. So it's kind of like the off the
but I'm not sure that that's
going too far is great.
I'm not sure that that's heel work though. I just think that's who she is as a person.
But I think like our heel work when feuding with Lyra most of the time was good. I think she had one really whiny promo, but most of it was pretty good heel work. It got Lyra established. This just feels like Nikki can't wrestle, she can't talk, she can't cut a fucking promo. Why the fuck is she there? This is like, I really hope this doesn't have to bite me and we just completely go viral for the wrong reasons. But if Nikki Bella somehow win this match on Sunday, it's going to set the women's division back 10 years. I think it's a huge mistake.
Agreed. Becky Lynch for me. I'm just going to give my prediction.
Aye. Becky
I hate
has
it,
to
but
retain.
there's no point. There's literally no point in Nikki Bella taking the title. What are we doing?
I would agree.
Don't know.
And
Unless it was written into a contract for about 100 years ago that she was going to be IC champ at one point. Didn't even have that title back then.
I know. It just feels like it's a bit like Trish Stratus coming back to face Tiffany Stratton. You're like, they could have an absolute banger of a match, but it has to end. Well, it has to end with Becky walking with the title. It can end in multiple ways, obviously. But
the only other option is if Nikki wins the title at Clash, she drops it next Friday. That's the only way it can go. Or next Monday, well, the following night. She can hold the title. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, get it off the card. I hate it.
Imagine having a part-time IC champion. Literally the workhorse title. Always has been. Always will be.
Well, I mean, you're a part-time US Women's Champion now. Even though she's on the show every week. It's not in the ring.
It's
the most part-time full-timer ever.
I mean, we're through 3/5 of the card.
In 11 minutes.
And I was about 10 minutes and we spent about 40 minutes on everything else that's happening, which just shows you how...
There's some meat to chew on these two, though.
This is back to feeling like how we felt watching the last few Clash in the Castles and stuff, where it's like a glorified house show. Unlike what Backlash France felt like last year. Next match for me... I don't know where else will go in the card. For me, this should be the main event. I don't think it will be. It won't be, but it's the match we've called for from WrestleMania. In fact, probably even before WrestleMania. And once again, I have to throw it to you, Daz, because it's a SmackDown match. Talk me through.
I love the fact that Big John is a SmackDown guy, because I cannot wait for your pain when it comes to predicting his final match, and I get to go first.
You're getting rated for that.
Aye. See, to be honest, I'm really, really interested in this. This is the one match that I said I wanted to see on this card. I'm really happy with the build-up towards this. Both have looked good getting into it. I think this is where we need to get the best of John and get to see him do... I called for it a while ago when we were fantasy book news run. Put him on a bit of Ric Flair. Let him win every match, take us out in his back. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got to win these feuds. The only other option, if he doesn't win this, if he doesn't beat Logan Paul, he loses every match until he retires, and he puts other people over on his way out. Instead of giving one guy the rub, you give 3 or 4 newcomers the rub, aside from Brock Lesnar. So, I'm really intrigued by this because, see, a month ago, both of these guys were hot heels. Now one's a major face again. But I wouldn't be unhappy no matter who wins this match. And that's why I'm interested in it, because I'm such a John Cena guy and I want him to win every match until he retires. But if he's going to go in his back and put over Logan Paul, I don't really hate it, because I'm big on Logan as a wrestler. Which is interesting because I hate him as a content creator. But I think he's a wrestler, he's the real deal. He really is.
His work in particular was fantastic the other night. Like that's the segment that probably made that main event go short. Because
and that's why I've been really
went
happy.
Too long there. It was great though.
That's why I've been really happy with this, because it's probably the one thing for Logan, in my opinion, that's let him down is his promo work at times. Because some of his promos have been really good. But sometimes he's a wee bit brash and he speaks too quick and gets things out too quickly. He's working with the best in the ring and he's shown that he can hang with Cena on the mic, which is great. So I don't really care who wins. I really don't. Although it is Cena's last appearance in Europe. So I really don't see them putting Logan Paul over. I think it will be match of the night. I think John has shown when we got to SummerSlam that he is back up to full speed. He can hang. He's done a full-time run now in terms of work behind the scenes, and it's not just been a 2-week prep for a one-off show. So I'm really, really intrigued to see this. We know Logan's a fucking superb worker. I think he's know my prediction without me saying it out loud, so what I've just spoken about. But Cena for me, because it is his last appearance in Europe. But if Logan Paul beats John Cena at Clash in Paris, I will also be a very happy man.
Roscoe?
I think Daz's thoughts are very, very much what I'm thinking. I really, really liked the last segment with the working the crowd really, really well. You could see that this has got a little bit of legs in the ring. I would have liked to have seen this as the main event as well, actually. That looks to me like I've looked around a few places when I was looking for the card ahead of this tonight, and they all have them in the same order, which makes me think the order as read is the order it's going to be, which is this is going to be slap bang in the middle, which, fine. I think it makes sense. I think with one of the ideas that I have is like another fantasy thing that they could do for Cena's final match, which I heard someone else actually speaking about. It was basically have his last match as a total nonsense gauntlet match where you could put through a couple of different people and put them over.
It was Nick,
I read
it
that
was Dolph
somewhere.
Ziggler.
Great.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler. Yeah,
that was the one. That was great. I enjoyed that.
Sorry, Nick Nemeth. Apologies.
But yeah, I think Cena here winning does make sense if this is it. Like if this retirement tour is truly it, I think he wins. I think if Logan Paul does go over, I wouldn't dislike it, but it does make me feel like this hard stop might not be a hard stop in the truest sense. I'm sure we'll get back to what I mean by that at some point in the future, but I'll go Cena. And I think he was.
I believe it.
See just before you start, because you'll spend 10 minutes talking about this, right? See if it was any other person in the business, I'm 1,000,000% with you, Ross. That I'm not even totally believing that it's a final run. And this is the only guy I believe when he tells me when I hang up my boots, they're hung up. I don't even think that the Saudi money, like it did for HBK, would bring him out of the it doesn't come across as a guy who's in it for the money, because without going on a ramble, I think when Cena hangs his boots up, I think he's done.
I was going to say for money. He's the one. He was the one guy, because it's not for me. It's not even the money. It's like if our house move had fell through the first time, I had to push back, or even if I hadn't moved, I would have been saying to Nicole, I'm going to Boston for this. I'm going to fly Friday to Sunday, just go to watch John Cena wrestle his last match, and I don't care if I don't get in, don't care if I hang about outside. I'm going to Boston for this. I'm going to take the risk. I can try and get a ticket when I get there if I can't get one before I go. I'm still asking her if I can go to Paris this weekend because I can still get tickets. Because I want to see it one more time.
You want to go and see that card?
No, I want to see John Cena. And the cheapest tickets left are €300. I just don't care. That's why I don't think he'll come to retirement, because I think he knows the inflated prices that Ticketmaster are going to put on, and I think that's why I don't think he would do it. I think he would feel like he'd let people down, because there's going to be people that will spend thousands and thousands of dollars and pounds to go and watch John Cena's last match, and if it's not his last match, I think he would lose. That's the reason. For me, it's not the money; it's the other stuff.
Just the other
all
money.
Valid reasons. They are all valid reasons. All I'm saying is,
I know.
Stories are stories.
And the stories
I know, but I don't think
it's kind of about just now is I think it would be great, but I just also don't.
I don't
think
think Cena is a TKO picks up, like, you know, that way we Taker. Taker retired about 3 times. If Vince picked up the phone, Taker would answer the call. I don't think John's that guy. I think if they phoned him in 2 years' time and says, look, Chris Jericho wants to wrestle you in his last match, we teaser for a future podcast there, because Y2J might be on his way back, but Chris Jericho wants to go against you in his final match, I don't think John would do it.
I don't think he would do it either. I think he's.
I guess we'll see.
I think.
I will tip doth my cap to you. I've seen a returns post retirement. I will.
To be fair, if there was ever a way to turn John Cena actually heel, is that?
Aye, definitely. Thanks for all your money. Ultimate heel run.
I comes out in Saudi. Last entrant in the Rumble.
That would be fun.
I'm also going Cena for this match, because I do agree that he needs to win every match, apart from maybe one, and then lose the last match to someone for it to matter. And we'll get to who that could be maybe in the next couple of weeks as we revisit our previous fantasy booking and readjust it based on what has happened.
Close, unfortunately,
because we all kind of went down the route of him holding it until his last match and did it that way, which also hasn't happened. I'm picking Cena for this on one main reason only. We know the match that's looming for WrestlePalooza, and I just don't think having him lose back-to-back matches and then going into or back-to-back PLE matches and going into a match with Lesnar makes any sort of sense. I think that needs to feel like a main event, even if it doesn't main event. Also, for 1 minute, do not think that Brock Lesnar directly reached out to Nick Aldis on Friday night. I've just heard for Lesnar, not Lesnar's guy spoke to Hunter's guy. That's what would have happened, right? There's no Lesnar's dealing with Nick Khan, nobody else. Let's be honest. Nick Aldis thinking he's getting a direct line to fucking Brock Lesnar. Zero chance. Main event time, and it is a Raw match, and it's Seth Punk night Jey Uso. I have a little bit more interest in this match after last night. What I'm going to say is I feel as though the three faces not turning on each other, but getting into a squabble, not just being best pals, should have happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it would have just built this match up to so much more, because up until halfway through last night's show, and even allowing for the LA Knight through the table the week before, until he explained how he saw it last night, up until that point, you could have made a case where these three guys was going to make sure that Seth doesn't leave with the title, right? But last night made it be like, right now it feels like a free-for-all. This should have happened 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm going to go straight to prediction on this, because there is no way Seth doesn't walk out with the title on Sunday night. I'd love to be able to... It's not going to be Punk, because we all think that Punk, even winning last month, cheapened it.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I agree, it won't be Punk.
It should have been the WrestleMania Night 2 main event. Punk won a world title again in the WWE. I'd love to see it be LA Knight. Give him a chance for a couple months, see how it goes, flip it back for Mania season, whatever. And it's just not going to be Jey. He had his run this year. It's Seth, and that's it. Because the feud, it's Seth until Mania. I think we could have a conversation after saying it last week. You could talk me out of Cody holding the title till Mania, but I don't think you can talk me out of Seth holding this title till Mania. That's where I'm at. I think it's as straightforward as that. I don't think there's anything else to be said. Roscoe?
Yeah. It's kind of it's a weird situation when you have a fatal four-way, and in theory you should be able to come up with the ideas of they can go this direction and they can go that direction, and that's ultimately what we quite like, is that when you get presented with a match like this, and we quite like if there are actual legitimate options for them to go, but it just kind of seems like they've either already exhausted, or, as you say, those are earmarked for 2026, really. Which then makes it a problem about why this is on the card in the first place. But I digress. Yeah, I can't really see past Seth. I like to hope, Hunter, if you are listening, you do like shaking things up. This is exactly the match to shake things up. None of us will be upset if you take a different route with this. If you put the strap on LA Knight, I think we would all be delighted with that. Even if it was again a 3 or 4 week thing, it'd be fun. I just can't see past Seth. I cannot see past him. I don't dislike it either if the eventual aim is to do something at Mania that's great. I just think we'll end up getting a bit bored, and the whole vision will just be a sideshow. But I think, yeah, Rollins for me, somewhat begrudgingly.
Okay. I see. You joining us, and you're going to go somewhere else?
Up until last night, I could not see past Seth Rollins. I just couldn't. I actually think last night, I think we've seen the winner of this match, and I think Jey Uso is going to win the world title. And I've not yet decided who will eat the pin, although I think last night might have shown us who's going to eat the pin. I think he might pin Punk. And the more I think about it, the more it makes sense to me that when me and you spoke about this, when this match was announced, was what is Jey doing in it? Jey's probably the one person that doesn't fit this match right now, because Punk and Knight are really fresh with the Seth Rollins and the Vision, etc. Jey's just kind of the extra guy. There's another man on this card who doesn't need to be on this card, who I believe is going to screw Rollins out of the title in some capacity. And I think Roman will help Jey win the world title. Where that goes from there is another story. I really don't know. But I've been calling for this for a while. I'm sick of fucking 600-day title reigns. let's play a bit of hot potato. You've got 3 guys in there who, in fact, see if Jey does win the title, I'm confident LA Knight will win the title before WrestleMania, because I think they'll play hot potato with it. But that's the only way he's going to get the world title in the near future. I just think that, see, as much as Seth could hold the title to Mania, and I actually think I might hate it, because just because I really don't like this stable. I don't like the work they're putting together.
It's not what it still doesn't work.
I don't like even the presentation of Seth. He's the cocky guy, but he could do that on his own. The vision, like the visionary, that's who he was. He doesn't need these 2 guys. So yeah, I think they've maybe seen that it's too early to put that belt back on Seth, just with where his stable is at the moment. See if they were to just fucking melt the stable and put him back as a solo competitor, it'd be a great champion. I just think his stable's holding him back as world champion. So I think they're going to put it back on Jey. He's still incredibly over. He's massively over in France. And I think that it might be the beginning of 1 or 2 or 3 title reigns between now and WrestleMania, just to shake things up in that division, because you've got a lot of heavy hitters in that division. I just think that it also sells a story for CM Punk that he's the only one that doesn't win it, and he gets his payoff. So for me, against the grain, Jey Uso is going to be the world heavyweight champion.
I'd love it. See, from a hope perspective, just anything to be a bit different for a couple of months would be great. And I'm with you. I'm fed up with these long reigns. Even getting back to Jey Uso does open up the Gunther story again when he eventually returns.
Yeah.
The traditional
fake injury, yeah.
Traditional wrestling heel saying, "What the hell happened to my title in my division when I got injured and had to get away?" You know what I mean? So I think I'd be happy with any one of the 4 winning the title as long as it's done the right way. But you're right, Roman's full-time run, the bit with Jey then kicking Punk. I just wish some of that stuff had happened a few weeks ago and it was a bit more of a build on all happening in the Monday before it.
I don't disagree.
That's the only issue I have with that booking.
But I think that might be why they've booked it that way, is that it's like Ross said earlier, it's just that we seed of doubt where do you think we talk about it. But to be honest, it's still very likely that it's 90% Seth's going to retain his title, even though I think Jay's going to win. I'm still 90% it'll be Seth. But I think, see, because they've planted that seed of doubt, see if Jey pins him, the majority of the 90% that thought Seth was going to win will actually look at Monday night and go, the signs were there that this could happen. And
only does.
This is where I think they're good at booking. This is the stuff they're good at. They just don't have enough time across both shows to do it for more than one title at a time, and that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a great point, to be honest. One last match. We've just ticked over the hour mark, so we'll fit a couple minutes on this match. This for me on Raw will be match of the weekend. In Paris, the crowd will be hot for it. It's AJ versus Dom. It's the Intercontinental title. I feel like we called for a title change at SummerSlam, it didn't happen. Dom's once again getting a shot at this AAA Mega World title. I think he should win that. I think if this was on the Clash in Paris card, I'd be sitting here saying it's a title change because it's a safe one. It still is in Paris, it's in the same arena, it's on Monday night, it'll be mostly the same crowd. But to me, that's planted a seed of doubt of, would you not have done that on, if you're going to do the change, you'd do it in the PLE? Or is that too simplistic of you?
So it buys into my booking of Jey winning the world title. I don't think you could have took the title off Dom and Seth on the same night. Bearing in mind, I also think they're taking the title off Solo Sikoa as well this weekend. So I feel like we're going to get a lot of shuffling. It is interesting. I do think Dom will be Mega Campion, whether it's with the IC title or without. But it's really interesting that John Cena dropped a few names when he was cutting his promo with Logan Paul about the fact the fans think he's wasting time on Logan Paul when he should be wrestling AJ Styles, Dom Mysterio, and some third name. But for me, it's just a perfect final run for John, really is, because it's also AJ's final year. put the title on AJ in France where he is adored. Let him hold the title to Survivor Series. Let John win the title. John can have his open challenges on his Monday night or Friday night appearances in the lead up to his final match, and Dirty Dom gets his title back. I think it's great booking for everybody involved, but it just seems too easy. It just seems... I mean, it's safe, but it's John Cena, so who really gives a fuck if it's safe? But yeah...
Let's be honest, we all want to see a spinning IC title, don't we? Just for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
I am very, very... I bet, well, like the white strap and all that, I am 100%. I think that I don't think they'd be booking this match again if AJ wasn't going to win it. I don't see the point in running it back and having Dom beat him again, because the feud's done at that point, like done. At that point, they can't even go back to it later. Plus, it is in France. AJ is more popular in France than he is in the States for some reason. I think the only place he's adored more than France is Japan. So, and they do have a Japanese tour coming up. So, I don't see why the belt wouldn't go on AJ Styles, especially with that tour of Japan coming up.
Ross, your thoughts and prediction?
I really like what Daz has laid out there. I really like that. No, that this is a match that I am very much looking forward to. I like that we're getting a little run here between the UK tour and these events in Paris and in Lyon, where we can just sit and watch this unfold at a really nice and convenient time. So well done, WWE. You finally made something nice and easy for us. I can't wait for this. I think this is going to be an absolutely fantastic match. I hope they give it the time that it deserves, because these two, when they go in the ring, can let something breathe and tell a really nice story. I want to see Dom.
Main event.
I'd like
to main event.
Give them as much time as possible. Let us see everything as well when they send the US to a commercial break, and it just continues on, which is the first time I've watched anything live, Raw, SmackDown, since it's moved to Netflix. Class. Love that. Love that so much.
Wow, is that the first live one you've... Wow.
Yeah, I haven't stayed up to watch anything. So like that was like, holy crap, this is amazing. I really, really like what Dom's doing, to the point that I think I would really love him to win, but I wouldn't be upset if AJ does either, because I think that storyline and that clear pathway that they could take him between now and the end of the year makes sense. I'm just going to go for Dom just because I absolutely love what he's been doing. I think him winning multiple belts would be class. I think it'd be superb.
See, before you say anything, Saunders, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put the host in the hot seat for a change. If AJ wins the title, do they need to protect Dom with the finish?
No, he's so over. Doesn't need it.
Do you think Vikingo will be involved?
That's a good shout.
I'd need to double check if Triple A's
not in France, but no, it's not.
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. But do they have events on this weekend? Is what I would need to check.
Did they not tape them? Are they no tapings?
Yeah.
I don't know either, to be fair.
Like, put it this way: the fact that the next Mega Campione title match is not a Triple A show; it's a WWE show. Means I think Dom's taking that title, and I just think that I've also got a small stack of Dom cards in that drawer that nothing major yet that need to start accruing some value. I'm all in Dom Mysterio as wanting to be world champion as soon as possible, and I don't even want him protected, just want him to sink or swim, because that moment in Mania was like you have a superstar right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Just fucking strap that rocket ship to him and fire it to him, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Like, Dom Mysterio's not going to be a 15, 16 time world champion, but I guarantee his length of his title reigns are going to be epic by the time he's done. I think he could still be like a 10-time champion, but hold it for the equivalent of about 6 years. I just think the guy's that fucking good. And I'm taking AJ on Monday night because I think Dom has now moved past what the IC title will do for him. And it's not helping him or the belt, because the belt can elevate somebody else. There's people in NXT need to come up at some point. But Dom is now ready for a world title run. And what you've said, that does make a little bit of sense. Like, take it away for potential major changes in the fatal four-way. And ultimately, it's the same thing. Like, if AJ doesn't win this match, then I'm like, well, what the fuck's the plan for AJ for his last year? And I agree, I do want to see AJ versus John. I don't know if I want John to win the IC title. But we have, I'm pretty sure Dom Mysterio's one of the 3 names that we've had on that list of who should be John Cena's last match, and it has been since the start of the year.
Yep.
So if it goes that way, it goes that way. And again, that would be dead predictable, but it would be absolutely the right booking. And you can see what the other option is that Dom doesn't win the title back because he moves up a level. And I think that gives you options, but I think Dom drops the title
for him pre-Royal Rumble.
Aye. I think he drops the title in order to go and win the Mega Campione and then see where it goes for there.
Yeah.
I could not believe the noise when he didn't win, and I could not believe the noise when he pulled his mask off and he went into Triple A and attacked Vikingo. I could go into my soapbox here, but we're at 1:11, so we're going to aim for an 1:15 and just wrap up the pod. I'm going to just say that the IC title is massively important to Raw because of who's not winning matches at the moment. And you know who I'm going to mention, because I'm going to give. I don't care. There's no democracy tonight. I do not understand.
I'm not going to argue with you. So.
I do not understand the booking of Penta at all. And it was a good match with Kofi. And I understand that the New Day can't lose every week, but get Grayson Waller the fuck off my TV. Stop, like, it's literally they've wasted the momentum. Like, not wasted, they'll get it back, but like, it's about the Stephanie Vicker situation. This guy who's so hot could be anywhere. He's somebody that could be an IC champion at the end of the year and help that title, especially because he could take it to Triple A and could take it elsewhere and have matches. So to me, that's just, is it a burial?
My main problem with the Kofi win is it does nothing for Kofi Kingston. It does nothing for him. It does nothing for the New Day. It furthers their cause zilch. It's pointless. It's a pointless win. Makes no sense. And
my worry is that your prediction of Rey Fenix and Andrade going to Raw comes true, and we end up with Penta, Phoenix, and Andrade versus the New Day, Grayson Waller. Aye.
Mate, I'm telling you, I can book this shit in my sleep. I'm telling you.
I don't want to see it. I really, really don't want to see that.
It's happening. Then they're going to edge Andrade out, and then it'll just be Penta and Rey Fenix forever as a tag team.
Penta's a guy I want to see the world title picture, and I'm like, just don't waste him. That's how bad it is. And it's not his fault, because I'm enjoying his matches, I'm enjoying his work, but I just find it so strange that he lost that match last night.
Perfect guy to hold the United States title on SmackDown. It's a perfect guy for
it. 100%.
Or let Dom feud with him for the Mega Campion. Fucking sell tickets.
Well, we're going to bring the pod to an end there for the prediction show. We are going to log this off. We're going to record this weekend Saturday squash, and then we're going to figure out our plans for Sunday night, which we will announce over on TikTok and whatever, but I'll imagine we'll at the minimum be on TikTok and Twitter, possibly live streaming as well, since it's a nice reasonable time. Daz, any closing words ahead of this weekend?
Nah.
Fair enough. Roscoe?
It's a pleasure as always, gents. It was good to be back. Enjoyed myself.
Take it easy, everyone. We'll see you Saturday morning for Saturday squash.